I'm here today to speak about the universe rewarding you when you are brave. And are you waiting to be ready? Are you waiting for that perfect moment, that perfect time, that perfect place that you think you're going towards, that you think you're going to get to in order to do something, in order to show up, in order to bring to the world that which you came here for? I have been feeling like I'm getting smacked in the face by the edge of my comfort zone lately. That every day I'm coming up against that wall that I am expanding towards, and it's uncomfortable. And I had a moment yesterday and I was speaking to my mom and I was questioning, is it worth it? Is this level of stress, this level of emotions that come through, this angst that I have in order to do what I feel I'm here to do, worth it? And it was a huge yes. There is no option for me to go back into my comfort zone, into that safe space, and still be wishing that I was where I am right now. I realized that if I looked back at myself from 5 years ago, that if I saw myself here today from that 5 year ago Jen, I'd be inspired by me. I would be looking up to me. I'd be saying, wow, what are you going to do next? What else can you tell me? What's the motivating thing? And that inspires me to keep going. It inspires me to then think about what's future Jen 5 years from now telling me now about what to do and how to show up. And she's also saying, keep going. You're doing the thing that you wanted to do. You're showing up. And I realized that no matter how uncomfortable it can be, no matter how uncomfortable your expansion can feel, that's what we're here to do. That's what being human's about. And you are totally allowed to spend days in your comfort zone where it feels safe and warm and nourishing. But don't be afraid to go back up to that edge and find out how far you can push it today, about what it shows you about yourself. Because if I go by my own experience, I have been expanding in a way and showing up in a way and sharing what I know and what I believe in and my truth in a way that feels scary sometimes. I shared something yesterday that once I hit send, there was this wash of a fear of persecution go throughout my system. And I shared about what I see is happening in the world at the moment and the light that's being brought to it. And I recognized that I hadn't wanted to voice my opinion for fear of being wrong, for fear of being pulled up and said, no, what you're saying is incorrect or you're offending someone. And I recognized that this fear of persecution that I felt in that moment was a sense that these people that are having a voice right now would maybe feel that sense of fear of persecution every single day, that they walk out of their home and fear it just because of the way they look. So I gave the advice that if you feel uncomfortable, lean into it. So I took my own advice and I leant into that feeling, and I was able to go through it and come out the other side. I recognized that when I had my moments of emotional processing yesterday of, is this all worth it? Is me wanting to stand up and teach people about spirituality, about how to have shamanic practices in their life, how to use ceremony, ritual, how to have conscious living practices to change their world, their business, their relationships, their perception, and most of all themselves, that if I want to be a leader, if I want to train people to be leaders, then I have to lean into those moments that it feels uncomfortable. And I want to talk to you today about it and why that's important, why that's actually going to fuel your expansion. I just want to take a breath. I feel so passionate about this, and it's been so present. And when we want to feel certain about something, and certainty is the absence of doubt. And when we think about it, how much does doubt plague that which we want to do? The doubt of, are we good enough? Do we know enough? Are we smart enough? Are we ready? Imagine if you already did it. You already succeeded. You already had the thing. You already had the relationship. You already had the dream job. You'd already succeeded in the entrepreneurial business that is your heart and soul. You already were fit and healthy. You already were wealthy. How would you show up? How does it feel? The universe wants us to be really clear with what we're trying to create, what we want. They want clarity. What does it look like? What are the specifics? And then they want you to feel it like you already have it. And I know I talk about this when it's about manifestation and bringing things in, but that feeling sense is the energetic frequency. And what we want to do is align ourselves with that energetic frequency, okay? Now, I'm going to check a note. Yes. So, we get really clear. We feel it, and then we have to take daily divine inspired action. We have to move towards those dreams. There is no point of us sitting on the couch and waiting for things to drop into our lap. What can you do today to just start moving towards those dreams? What is it that makes you feel more ready, even if you think you're not, even if you're waiting to feel like it's perfect, or it's time, or the market's right, or someone gave me approval and permission? My answer for that today was, I'm going to turn up and do a live. I'm going to turn up and speak about this because I think it's really important. Now, there's a difference between having something that you love, that you do, that you want to share with people, and you just are waiting for that moment, compared to having an idea and it's still birthing, it's still formulating. We want to give our ideas time to grow, time to be nourished, and time to find themselves until they're ready to be birthed. And in that time, it can feel a little bit like we want other people to tell us it's a good idea. We want to know that it's going to be accepted. It was funny, I was speaking about this with a client this morning about them really wanting to not have to seek approval anymore and not have to feel like that they're always trying to move towards something, but always turning around and getting someone else to say, yes, it's good. But it's part of our biology. It's part of our human makeup to be a part of a tribe, a part of a community, and a part of a society. And to do that, we want to feel safe and accepted and like what we're doing is going to be okay. So there's a part of our makeup that wants that approval, that wants that external validation. So what we can change within us is, where are we asking it from? Are we asking it from a place of, I believe in this, I love this idea, and I'd love to talk about it to people to gain some different perspectives, to see how it's received, and maybe they can help me to even shine it up even better, make it a better delivery, see how I can deliver it in a way that's most received? Or are we asking from that victim place of, do you approve of me? Do you like me? And do you want me? And there's also that way of just protecting our ideas and sitting with them ourselves for a while. I know I can get pretty gung-ho. I'm a creative. I'll think of something and I'll want to make it and produce it and release it that day. But I've learned that my best method is to have the idea, note it down or create it, and then just at least sit on it for 24 hours. This is especially true when I'm writing posts and I'm writing blogs of something that I feel really passionate and fueled about. I need to walk away. I need to give it at least an hour just to come back, reread it, edit it, not be attached to what I've written and just be going, okay, what is the core message here? Where have I written it from? What space was I in? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling in victim? Am I feeling in dominating, wanting to change things? And just coming back and trying to say, well, what energy does this need to come from? What is its goal? So as we grow, as we come up to these comfort zone edges and we expand beyond them and we expand beyond them, this is big spiritual growth, guys. This is when these challenges offer us the capacity to gain wisdom and insight and power and awareness of ourselves. And it can be a little bit tricky to know if we want to be that person, because with that expansion comes a sense of responsibility, comes a sense of power. And I guess what I'm saying is when we feel like we have responsibility, it adds a load. It can feel like a load. When we feel like we have power, we can feel like that power can be taken away. And I was really inspired by Seth Monk's live the other day on his personal page, where he spoke about the rioting and the protests and the looting, and that when we feel like our power is taken away, we want to take it back. And a way for people to do that right now is rioting, is looting, is protesting. And often we'd go, well, why would someone do something that they know is wrong? Why wouldn't their internal compass or their upbringing or their morals stop them from doing something like looting, for example? And it came down to, he said, it's because they can. It's because that it's something that they do have the capacity to do and that they have a power over. And this is so interwoven with all of this at the moment, because power, whilst all of us want it in some capacity. And when I'm saying power here, I don't mean the big corporations and the government. I'm just saying that personal sense of control, of power, of the ability to govern our own lives. When that's taken away, we want to get it back. Think about it when you've had an altercation with someone, potentially mostly a partner, when you feel like they've done something that's undermined you or taken a bit of power back, and our first instinct is often to retaliate, to defend, to cause them a sense of taking their power away. I love the book The Queen's Code by Alison Armstrong. It taught me a lot in regards to the way the masculine brain works, and that often when males and females fight and that dynamic, it's about we feel like they can take our power away quite easily as a female compared to the strength of a male, and that we want to then take it back. So we target them, we target their soft spots, their weak spots, and this is not conducive to positive relationships. So what if instead of, when we feel like our power is being taken away, we retaliate by trying to take someone else's power away? or we retaliate by doing things we know are wrong, but it kind of feels like it boosts us just a little bit. We come from a place of love. We come from a place of compassion. We go, okay, why have they chosen to do it this way? What are they feeling? If they have tried to take my power away, how have they felt like their power has been taken away for them to act like that? This is how we start to cultivate an emotional intelligence on a collective level, so that we are aware of our reactions, we are aware of our responses. This is being brave. You know, being ready. And when I first came into this talk today, I was speaking around business, really, because I'm always speaking from my personal experiences. I'm always trying to share my revelations, my understanding of what I'm going through, because it often permeates and connects to people for whatever they're going through. But the more I speak today, as I'm an external processor, I work things out as I'm talking out loud. Being brave and being ready doesn't necessarily mean about creating a whole new career or changing your whole life. It can simply be speaking up for yourself, changing the way you converse, changing the way you react to people. Speaking with a beautiful woman this morning, she spoke about this, that she realized that she'd gone back to work after COVID and they put her onto shifts that she wasn't able to commit to, that it didn't work with the timing of her family and her commitments. And she was able to speak up and say, no, I'm sorry guys, that doesn't work, but how could we work out a different solution? Rather than falling into victim, rather than falling into, oh, they don't care, they didn't think about me, they don't know my stuff. They probably don't. They probably didn't even think about it. They probably didn't realize the impact it would have. But by you coming back from an empowered place, from a space of going, actually, sorry guys, we need to change that, it opens up a conversation, it opens up communication. And really, communication is what it all boils down to. How do we communicate with ourselves? How to communicate with the people in our lives? How to communicate with spirit? Are we listening? Are we seeing the signs? Because so often, I mean, they're there every day, guys. They are there all the time. And sometimes they'll smack you in the face over and over again until the universe needs to send that 10-ton truck your way. So how do we move forward? How do we continue to find courage and bravery to hit that comfort zone and still keep showing up, rather than walking back 10 spaces and going, whoa, I just need to pull myself together before I can move forward again? Because it can feel a little bit emptying when we give and give and give and we're not actually seeing that return. So I had an experience the other day. I came home in the evening and my hot water tap had been running full bull in the kitchen, and I was really confused. And I rang my housemate and I said, hey, the tap was on. Do you know what happened? She went, oh yeah, the water got turned off today. I'm like, oh, that's right. We got a notification about it. But when I worked it out, it meant the tap had been running for about 5.5 hours. Obviously, she's gone to clean something and the tap had been off, and she didn't realize, and it wasn't definitely her fault. But I felt this deep level of frustration and annoyance at wasting that water. And, I put a bucket in the shower to catch the excess and put it on the plants. And it was just like, oh my gosh, like we're still in drought. And I went to sleep feeling that level of annoyance, and I woke up the next day and still felt it. And it hit me that night why it annoyed me so much. The water had been a physical representation of what I was feeling energetically and emotionally. That I'd been outpouring all this energy, but I felt like potentially going to waste, that it wasn't being received, that I wasn't filling my own cup up. And when we have to keep facing this comfort zone, there's no one there applauding us, going, yay, well done, you did it. We kind of need to do that for ourselves. And for a personal reflection, like when I'm here trying to share my soul work, trying to express my truth, trying to teach by example, I'm literally putting my own experiences, my heart, my soul out to the world to be judged, out to the world to be received, out to the world to be validated or not. And it can feel really raw, it can feel really vulnerable at times. And I have to just keep coming back to my why. Why am I doing this? Because I want to make a difference in the world. And when I was journaling yesterday after sort of posting that post and feeling quite vulnerable and that fear of persecution, I wrote, if I want to change the world, I have to be willing to change. And it felt really poignant. It felt really spot on. I have to be willing to change every single day. I can't be set in a structure. I can't be stuck in a belief pattern. I can never ever think that my way is the only way and that my way is the right way. I'm a perpetual student of life. I'm always learning from other people. And any good leader and teacher should be that we have to be open to being wrong. We have to be open to new ways and new insights and new perspectives and ways that might shift and change everything we thought we knew. Completely changing your perception and your paradigm and then showing up again. And through all this, I have learned so much about myself. I have learned by showing up and by doing it. So to come back to the original point of this video today is about being brave and showing up. The universe is going to reward you by teaching you more about yourself, more about what you can do, more about how your medicine works, how your gifts show up, how you affect change, how you affect people, and what the world transforms around you the more you keep expanding. So keep expanding, my friends. This is the time for us to create the new earth by using our voice, using our actions, and using our thoughts and our internal mindset, our internal energetic frequency to pave the new path ahead. 2020 is going to be in our memories forever as the most pivotal time in humanity for consciousness to change, for equality to be born, so that the children of today can live in an equal society. We've been born into a society that is structured a certain way, and we can be very used to that and think it's normal. But we need to now go back and look at that, look at what we think is normal, unlearn the things that we think are just standard, and set a new path. Set a new path for us today, the children and the children's children, so this earth can thrive and survive. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you for being with me. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful week. And I'll see you soon.